What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Keeping It G podcast. I'm your host, G Baby, and we're doing a little something different today. So, I tried to get some people with me to do these reviews for WWE and stuff, but you know what? I think it's just going to be me for now. Until I can get some consistent people, because, schedules and college is starting back up and stuff, it's just going to be me. So, we are now doing a MiniPod. This is the KIG MiniPod, the Keeping It G podcast MiniPod. It's just quick little reviews for the regular shows throughout the weekend. When there's a big pay-per-view or something like that, then we'll have an actual pod. So this is the first episode of the MiniPod, so I'm trying it out. Hopefully y'all like it. This ain't gonna be an hour and a half podcast and just me talking. I know y'all don't want to hear my voice for that long. This ain't even gonna be an hour. This might not even be 30 minutes, to be honest. But I watch Monday Night Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown every week on the dot. So I figure, why not come out here and just talk about it real quick, briefly. Just the big talking points. Especially now we in the Triple H era. Everything's going to be popping. So I don't want to miss a second of it. I know y'all don't want to miss a second of it. And if I keep waiting on people, it just might never happen. So, and then I'm about to start college and it's just about to get busy. So, hey. That's why we're calling this the MiniPod. It's just some small, some quick, just so, because I want to get my points out there, make content, and so, hey, if you can't do it with anybody else, you got to do it yourself. So, hopefully y'all like this. Hopefully y'all are tuning in. This will not be live streamed, as y'all can tell by this episode. This is going to be pre-recorded. So, hopefully y'all like it. Hopefully it's something I can get out there. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube right now, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please comment, share with your friends and all that. It looks like I'm only going to be on YouTube for these. It's not going to be on Twitch. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how long I'm going to stay on Twitch as far as YouTube videos go. I don't know. I might keep my Twitch for like video games and stuff like that if the time comes. But as of right now, this will only be on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, like the video, comment, subscribe. Follow the channel, keep up with the channel. Turn on them notifications too, because we're going to be putting out content about 3-4 times a week now. So make sure y'all don't miss any of that. Shout out to From the Sideline. Y'all go follow them as well. Go follow them on Twitch and YouTube. It's called From the Sideline. All right. That's a podcast that I'm on as well. We talk NFL. We talk NBA. It's popping over there as well. We go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mondays and Fridays are about 6 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays are still kind of like up and down. It's called the Nightcap. Those are more the chilling shows. Monday and Fridays are when we get nasty. So y'all go follow From the Sideline podcast. You see me over there. My boy Troy, my boy Boo-Wop, my guy Nigel over there. We got guests in and out. So hey, y'all go tune into that podcast. But let's go ahead and get into the title of this little mini pod. Should Drew McIntyre win at Clash of the Castle? Now, I have been on the kind of wagon where I don't think he should, because I know they want to do Roman and Rock at Mania. Since he has both titles, they unified it, hey, that's the plan. I don't think I don't think Roman is going to get pinned until Mania, if even that, because obviously I don't think The Rock is winning, but I just think Roman ain't been pinned in almost 3 years. You save that for a Mania or like a Raw after or something like that. You got to save that for you get that big like moment, make a new star. But a lot of people say, well, it's Clash at the Castle. You can give the Drew win there and you'll get that pop that you need. It's the first show in the UK and stuff in a long time. And then this promo happened on Raw. So for those of you who didn't watch, or for those of you who didn't know, Drew McIntyre came out and he just had a fire to him. That I know Drew McIntyre is capable of doing that, but his fire just was a different level. Basically coming out and was like, yo, I'm gonna win the title. I'm gonna win the title. It deserves to be on Raw every week. All that. Kevin Owens comes out and interrupts. Now, Kevin Owens last week took out Ezekiel with the powerbomb to the apron, something he was using in NXT. And I said at that moment, okay, great. Prize Fighter is back. Triple H, the GOAT. Prize Fighter is back. And he confirmed it here. He said, look, I haven't held a title in 5 years. It's time for the prize fighter to come back. So him and Drew were, going back at it. And Drew just came with this fire. He talked about how, hey, look, I've had to work hard. I got fired. I was the chosen one when I got here and I got fired. I had to work hard, busted my butt. WWE called me back and I've been a 2-time champion, beat Brock, Goldberg, all these dudes. So, look, I worked hard. And that passion and the way he was getting at it, I'm just like, okay, I can believe you winning. Like, I can believe you winning at Clash of the Castle, and I would not be mad at it. Honestly, I would not be mad at it. And you can send him to Raw, because obviously he's a SmackDown guy. That was another reason why I didn't think he was going to win. But either way, if you just send him to Raw and have him be the top champion, God, that just gives so much more life to that brand. I mean, honestly, and the way to get around that is just do a draft right after. Do a draft right after. If he wins at Clash of the Castle, do a draft right after. That first night on Raw, that is your first pick. Drew McIntyre, or if you want to do Smack, whatever. But Drew McIntyre goes to Raw. He can feud with all these new people. There's now a main title on Raw, and it feels like more people will get showcased, better feuds. So I've kind of turned the corner. I genuinely believe you can put the title on Drew McIntyre. Just one of them, though. Obviously, not both. I don't know how they're going to get around just fighting for one title. Like, I'm pretty sure you can pull a Roman can be like, you know what, you don't even deserve to fight for both titles, but you know what, you can fight for one, and it could be the WWE, because Romans have said, I believe in a promo, that he didn't even care about it, so he just wanted all to go. But he's like, you don't deserve to fight for both titles, you can fight for one, something like that. I don't know. I trust Triple H to make it make sense, but excuse me, only because it's a unified title. That's the only reason why. Like, it's not like he just has both. They technically unified them. So technically, to ununify them wouldn't make sense. But they haven't, made a new belt. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's why I believe Drew McIntyre can be the main champion and be believable. I know he's done it before. But I'm talking about, because before in the Vince era, nobody really felt credible enough. I didn't believe anybody was ever going to pin Roman until we got to Mania or Raw after. Maybe Cody when they were building him up, but that was it. But now, in the Triple H era, Drew McIntyre in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, has already felt like the big deal. You know what I mean? So, to answer the legit question, should he win? If they make it makes sense to where he's only fighting for one title, then yes. But if they keep it as unified, undisputed, and all that, then no. But I think, I don't think it would hurt Drew. But after these past couple of weeks, if they decided to just run with it, I would not be mad at it. I think it would be great. And I think especially because that's the main event, I think he's going to get the pop. He's going to get the shock, and all that. So he'll probably get the big celebration. And then you can lead that into some character work with Roman Reigns. Oh snap, Roman's been pinned for the first time in who knows how long. That can drive his character work. Now he starts taking it out on the Usos. You can start doing character work with that. He's starting to get paranoid. He's already lost one. How long before he loses another? So on and so forth. And he's got people on his neck. Kevin Owens coming after him. He's still got Karrion Kross over there on SmackDown who might be trying to go after him. So I think it could work. And I think there'd be a lot of intrigue if Drew did win. But I know they want to do Rock, Roman, and Mania. So until Rock legit says no, I think they're going to hold on to that with everything they can. But then, him and Kevin have a great match, probably match of the night. And I know a lot of people don't like DQ finishes in a lot of matches because Vince just used it all the time. But this was a DQ finish that made sense. So the Usos ran in and attacked Drew McIntyre towards the end, right when he was about to hit the Claymore. It made sense because, one, he's feuding with feuding with Roman, and he's been talking mess about the bloodline and all that. So it makes sense why, Roman would send him. 2, Kevin Owens is back to being the prize fighter. And even before the match, he's like, "You're no prize, but you know what? Screw it. Let's do it." You know what I mean? So the way, and if y'all remember his character in NXT, if it wasn't for the title, he wasn't about to waste no time. Like, he didn't want to waste at any time fighting. Like, that's why they called him the prize fighter. So it makes sense for Kevin Owens to be like, "Hey, I don't care about this loss." He even hit him with a stunner afterwards. Told, the Usos, like, "Look, you owe me. Tell Roman you owe me." And so this is the DQ finish to me that makes sense. And as long as it makes sense, I don't care about it. You know what I mean? Because Owens has a new character. Drew is the number 1 contender. You don't want to have him lose. So this is one of the DQ finishes that makes sense. So that, I wanted to talk about that first because I think that was probably the best thing on the show. And now I have genuine intrigue for Clash of the Castle. I don't know who's going to win that match. I don't know. Like, I genuinely can't tell you. I don't know who's coming out the winner. Now, if it's for both titles, then I'm kind of more leaning towards Roman. But if they just put one on the line or, find a way to work around that, I wouldn't be surprised. Because, you can't, if Roman's going to be on this contract, which is fine, like, whatever, he could still feel important because at least he's showing up more than Brock, right? And as long as he's defending it pretty consistently, I'm okay with that. But for both brands, like, that's going to be a problem. And right now, I would say Raw is more well-balanced top to bottom as far as roster-wise than SmackDown is. Like, SmackDown has two now, but 2 main eventers that seem credible in Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. They're doing better with the mid-card now because Triple H is making it important. But, like, Shinsuke, I know Sheamus is still there, but other than that, like, the Usos are there, so you have the tag team, the Viking Raiders, so, like, that's it. Then the women's division, they're trying to make it better, and props to them. So, Liv, Ronda, and Raquel Rodriguez and Shayna Baszler's now getting a push, so they're making it better. But right now, SmackDown has been struggling as far as, I don't want to say star power, but just quality of characters. So I think a draft will definitely help with that, but you can't have all your titles on the one show that doesn't have the quality of people to, like, really feel credible. As opposed to Raw, even though the titles aren't there, you still got an AJ, you still got a Seth, you still got a Riddle, you still got a Bobby Lashley. They were pushing Austin Theory. He feels like a bigger character. So I think if you can have a draft to fix that SmackDown roster and you put the titles on Drew, and you kind of shake up that women's division a little bit, I think the quality that you get from SmackDown will be just so much better. You could start building people up. And I know they only have 2 hours, but you can do it. You can do it. And I think Triple H, it's going to take a lot harder. It's going to take a lot longer than it is on Raw. Because the women's division is probably the weakest out of the 3 brands. Tag team division is basically nothing. Even, and I'll get to it later, but even to this show, they had to kind of make tag teams just to have a division. And unfortunately, I ain't seen the Street Profits, which I still think they should have won the SummerSlam, but, like, after the Street Profits, who you got? You know what I mean? Like, Chad Gable and Otis are cool, but they haven't been presented as serious since they lost the titles. So that's what I think they should do. Just fix that, even if you want to keep it on Roman. But I think you can get away with it if you make it for one title and put it on Drew. I think you can get away with it. So as for the rest of Raw, I'm just run through this real quick just to give my opinions on some stuff I want to talk about. So Judgment Day opens the show. I'm glad they're starting to feel a little bit more credible and a little bit more, even though they've lost, I get it, but they feel better. Like, they feel more of a threat, as opposed to they was just like, I don't know, it just feels different. I'm glad Rhea Ripley's back for sure. She adds a whole new dynamic. But Damian Priest and Finn Balor just feel like more credible now. Maybe it's the Triple H in the air. Damian Priest says he'll retire Edge in Toronto. Rey Mysterio tries to attack. Numbers advantage. Finn Balor hits coup de grace with the chair on Rey Mysterio. Crucially, no Dominic, which I like. I'm assuming Edge wasn't at the show, but I think it kind of makes you wonder, like, well, why didn't Edge come out to help? And Ray might finally be like, you know what, Dom, you were right. There might be character work with that. Dom and Ray might be like, see, I tried to tell you. Like, he don't care. So I like that. We'll see what happens. I don't think Edge is going to lose. But if they want to make Judgment Day feel like a bigger deal, Damian Priest winning isn't a bad idea. But I doubt they'll do it because Edge is Edge. But we'll see. We'll see. Another thing I want to talk about, Alexa and Asuka Bliss. Oh my gosh. Alexa Bliss and Asuka. I'm sorry. Alexa Bliss and Asuka beat Nikki, ASH, and Doudrop. I like where it's going. I really wish this was the finals instead of the semifinals, but I understand you got to do Raw, SmackDown. So next week they'll be in the semifinals. I think this is Dakota and Io's match to win because they feel more of a team than Alexa Bliss and Asuka. I feel like Alexa Bliss is, even though they're not really showing it, I feel like she's eventually going to get a character change, maybe turn heel. She did say she wanted to go after the Raw Women's Champion after that, and she was on track. They were going to have a match. I think it might have been like number one contender, but then Bayley and them came in, so like they're just kind of getting that. But after this match, I don't think Alexa should win, but I want to see her get back to, kind of going in that character route where she was about to change. Maybe in a draft after this match, send her to SmackDown, build her up, and have her beat Liv, personally, or something like that. She doesn't even really need the title, she just needs a character. Once she gets back to that character and maybe goes back to Little Miss Bliss, something like that, the heel, that's what I think should happen. So, and side note, I'm really glad this is not a title match. I'm glad that we're not just defending titles every single pay-per-view because it's a pay-per-view. I'm glad that this is a 6-woman tag that makes sense, doesn't need the title. You can save and you can build to a Bayley versus Bianca match. And that's what I like. So A+ with that. Next, Miz and Ciampa as a team is starting to grow on me. I actually really love Miz and Ciampa as a team right now. I wasn't on it at first, but it's grown on me a little bit, and we could see it in this tag match. I actually liked watching the Miz. He didn't annoy me. If it just felt like, oh yeah, he's doing some really good work, and who would have thought that Miz would be the one benefiting from the Triple H era? Like, I don't want to say I'm into the Miz, but he comes out with Ciampa and they have a segment, I don't get annoyed. I'm not like, oh, the Miz is on my TV. I'm like, oh, let's see. And I think it started with last week. I genuinely love, him in Ciampa's corner for the title defense. Trying to help him out, kind of like being the mentor, taking a step back as opposed to trying to be the main spotlight. I genuinely like that. They beat Cedric and Mustafa Ali in the tag team, which I get they had to do the tag team. I get they had to make some. But I actually like that Mustafa and Cedric were the team because 205 Live, they had, a rivalry there. You can build off that chemistry, and I think they work well together as a team. They have their moves and all that. So that's good. But Ciampa won, which I felt like was the right decision. Him getting the pin, so obviously he's still getting put strong. Miz doesn't feel like he's in the way, and Mustafa and Cedric, they don't really lose anything, but I hope they just continue to be a tag team and kind of slowly build up their way through the tag division. That's what I want to see from them. We had Riddle versus Seth, not in a match, but Riddle basically did an interview. He was like, I'm actually here, which you could kind of see coming. They brawled. Hey, Riddle's a smart baby face now. That's all I wanted to see. I'm good. They're going to have a match at Clash on the Castle, which we pretty much figured, which is fantastic for me. Final couple things. The U.S. title is continuing its momentum of feeling important. and I love it. I really, really love it. Bobby Lashley has had 2 major wins back to back. Last week being Ciampa, this week being AJ Styles, which to me, I think they had a wonderful match. I think it was fantastic. I have nothing to complain about. Dexter Lumis tried showing up again, but they arrested him, and so clearly it seems like that's the feud we're going to, Dexter Lumis versus AJ. This is not the comedy Dexter Lumis we saw towards the end of NXT, so I'm genuinely excited to see how that's going to turn out. It's great for me, honestly. Like, I love the so many turning plates. Bobby Lashley doesn't really have a story yet, or like a feud, but I don't think he necessarily needs one, because right now his job is to make that United States champion feel important, have a great match on TV, and win. That is Bobby Lashley's job right now. I know we don't want to. I don't want them to do it too much like the U.S. Open Challenge, like they were doing with Cena. Because you don't want to copycat everything. But when Cena was doing it, it worked. That's the last time I would say that title felt important. When AJ and Kevin were fighting over it, yeah, it was cool. But Cena having it was the last time it felt like a big deal. So I think when we do that, Bobby Lashley holding it right now, because he genuinely, this guy's a main eventer. This guy was a WWE champion. Like, he's not even the one that got pinned. Like, let's not forget that. He's not even the one that got pinned. Like, he had to be taken out of the match, when Brock Lesnar killed everybody else, and he never got another shot. So, like, this guy can still be a WWE champion. You know what I mean? So, like, him holding that United States champion just elevates it, makes it feel important, and then the fact that Ciampa and AJ are fighting over it, because AJ's a clear-cut main eventer. I don't care what WWE tries to do. He's still over. He still gets one of the loudest reactions. He still gets cheered. So, yeah, I'm glad this U.S. title feels important and is continuing its momentum. The last 2 things that happened on the show, Dakota Kai squashed Dana Brooke. Should have did it last week as well, but nevertheless, shout out Dakota Kai, making her look strong. And then Theory, after he was out for a while, condolences to his family. I know he said his uncle passed away. He's back. He beat Dolph in a fun main event, as he should, because that's the guy they're pushing. Dolph's character did kind of lose a little bit of steam because Theory wasn't there for 2 weeks, but you can't do nothing about that. But Theory, clearly they're still going to push him. I'm glad he's going to hold the Money in the Bank for a little longer. I think he should hold it. Because, again, if he's not pinning Roman, like, I don't think he should pin Roman anyway. And I think that cash-in should wait till, like, Raw after Mania or something like that. Especially if they do Roman Rock. If they do Roman Rock, for sure, I don't want a WrestleMania cash-in. I don't. But, let's just say, I don't know, let's say Cody wins. He comes out to celebrate, and, hey, you can do a Raw after night cash-in. He'll get hella heat. He would have had a year behind him, and it'll be great, and it'll still be the redemption story. You can, like, have Cody win at SummerSlam or, like, something like that. Just an idea. But main point is I don't want Theory cashing until after Mania, personally. Because I think he's going to lose if he does it before. And I genuinely want to see him, like, actually have a chance. Or if they separate the titles, then maybe you can do something on Raw. But as long as Roman has both titles, he shouldn't win till after Mania, personally. So that's my review of Raw. Again, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, please like the video, comment, subscribe. Again, content will be getting put out pretty much every day, 4 days a week. We're going to be putting out shorts, Tune in later tonight. Keeping It G football podcast. I haven't brought back basketball yet, but we're doing a football podcast. We're going to be talking about Lamar Jackson not getting his contract extended yet, and NFC South and North predictions. So y'all tune into that. Again, shout out From the Sideline. Y'all go tune into that YouTube. Follow them on TikTok. Follow them on Instagram. From the Sideline podcast. This is, again, mini episode, however we want to call it. First one. I'll be back with another mini pod on Thursday talking about Dynamite. It'll be my first Dynamite mini pod, so I got some stuff I want to talk about with them that I probably haven't said on this channel. So, hey, y'all tune into that, and I will catch y'all